Hello, friend. I wanted to make a little video responding to a question that was asked by a new subscriber and viewer to this channel by a fellow named Hugo. So thank you for your question, Hugo. And your question was how to give yourself anything you want within. He is asking for a little enlightenment on that. And so what I do, and what I've been doing, is obviously I listen to Edward Art Supply. And I will always take the time to listen to his videos several times. And I go to Reddit and I read his posts and I go back through the posts, and because I haven't, he was doing that for years before I found him. I found him like 3 months ago on Reddit. Before that, I was listening to him on YouTube on Nevolution, reading his, with Lila reading his Edward Art Hand Supply series, or Edward Art Supply Hand series on Nevolution, and I listened to all of those multiple times. And so for me, it's been kind of like laying down the foundational teachings of Neville Goddard by listening to Edward Art, who lays them out beautifully, who brings a clarity to the teachings that I think almost everyone who listens and reads really appreciates it. So, so when it comes to giving yourself, or how to give yourself anything you want within, I'm going to reiterate something that Edward says a lot, because it bears saying and repeating, which is, I am is a present tense feeling of being. It is a factual claim about the self, about your inner self. And I am is the only experience that you're having. And I am is the only thing that you can change, that you have control over changing, because it lives inside of you, right? It is a part of you. And so when you're giving yourself what you want, to I am, to your inner state of beingness, when you're giving yourself what you want, in the present tense feeling of being, it's a way of saying, as soon as you had that desire was granted to you in the inner by I am, by God, by that part of you that is God. Already a done deal. And if you're not experiencing it, that desire, if it's not being experienced in your outer world, there's usually reasons, and it usually has to do with resistance, double-mindedness, lack of belief that you can actually experience it, or that you actually are that. Sorry about that, my little alarm. But that it's who you are, it's what you are. Right? The minute you want it, it's yours. You've got it. And so, because we are all here in this three-dimensional world having these experiences, and experiencing not just the thoughts in our own head, but we're having interactions with people and situations and things like that outside of us, it's easy to misconstrue reality. But this world is perfect just the way it is. And this world is a mirror. So what that means is everything you're giving to yourself on the inner, yourself is giving that back to you on the outer. So if you're not experiencing what you want in the outer world, it's because you're not giving it to yourself on the inner world. There's something that's happening, and it's usually fear, doubt, worry, right? Things like that muddy things up or slows down the momentum of the thing that you want manifesting. But you are everything that you could ever want to be. Maybe you're not experiencing it in full as yet, but it's there for you. It's available for you to have and to be and to experience it. So, that's a cow off in the distance, just mooing. It knows that I am telling you good stuff. So, yeah, you are, as the wish fulfilled, whatever your wish is, or whatever your desire is, your only real work is to assume that you are that, or that you have that which you want. And your focus should be predominantly on what is wanted by you, and your acceptance that you have received, that it has been granted to you, that which you want. It's as soon as you want it, it's already given to you, and it's yours. And all you have to do is accept that, believe that, operate from a stance that it's now the new state of your life experience, your personal experience. It's now become incorporated into who you are. Because you never are not what you want to be. You are always what you want to be. And you're also always what you're giving yourself. So if you don't like what you're about or the life that you're living, all you have to do is revise it and decide, choose what it is that you do want. And then give that all your focus and be really, really persistent in that you're not going to accept anything less. Anything that's unwanted, that's presenting itself to you, it's not anything you have to accept. You don't. And then the more you practice only accepting what is wanted by you, the more that will unfold and become your personal experience in your life. Okay, so, for me, that's how it's been working. For me, it's been a really smooth, for the most part, a very smooth transition from having a lot of unwanted feelings and thoughts and experiences and interactions with everything outside of me, but also internally in my own head. And it's shifted into this really satisfying, enjoyable process, right? And the process has its own, way of unfolding. So you don't have to push or make things happen, because that's not the part that you have to mess with. All you have to do is accept the wish fulfilled and live as much as you're able to in a present tense state of beingness, of feeling like you are that being, that is your life, right? That you can have, be, or do whatever you want. And that the more and more you do that, the more and more you practice that feeling of beingness, it just gets easier. That's the best way I can describe it. It just keeps getting easier, because then when something unwanted does pop up, which is, it's going to happen, it's not hitting me the same way it used to. And even if in a moment I have a strong feeling or strong reaction, I have built so much momentum with the wanted focus that I have established with my I am, with myself. And I did that because I recognized that it was safe for me to do that. And that like Edward put out a really great video today about the inner critic. And for many of us, that inner critic could have been put in place at a very young age, and that voice has been a huge part of why we make decisions that we make, and why we limit ourselves from so much more that we could be experiencing that we want. When I felt safe enough to really just embrace my inner beingness, my I am, that inner critic was no longer the narrative or the narrator of my experience. And so a lot of the things that I've found myself doing kind of on autopilot, I stopped doing those things, because those weren't that voice and that narrator was no longer the first thing to pop up when as I was just going about my day, right? So if like the inner critic pops up for me now and says something like I don't know, just whatever negative crap it might say, I just automatically know that there are certain truths that I have taken as fact with these teachings. And one fact for sure that I have built my my sense of self on is that I am safe in my imagination with I am, that God center of me, of my beingness, right? And everything that I am giving to myself should be wanted by me. And if it's wanted by me, it feels good. If it's wanted by me, it's something that I have, feelings about that feel lovely, feel joyful, feel satisfying. And so it makes being in that state of, it's kind of like a serene state where before I used to feel a lot of undercurrent of stress and anxiety, and just anything that could potentially have stemmed from fearful thoughts or doubts, or things like that. I don't. I'm not having those things pop up like they used to. And I believe that is due to the fact that I've given my attention, my allegiance to my inner being. And as a result, it's giving back to me what I'm giving to it. So I'm learning the ease of this interaction and how it is a natural state of beingness that allows me to have the life that I want to live, the life that I want to experience in a way that I struggled with before. But now I don't. It's just, I'm not feeling the same struggles from even a month ago. And and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that there are just some things that I'm no longer entertaining in my own mind. Cast it out. And it's just no longer a part of what I'm focused on. And so, as a result, it's freed up a lot of space and energy. The focus on what is wanted now it just comes naturally, and then what is wanted unfolds naturally as well. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thought on that. And then, I like to use the word practice, because I'm kind of like with Edward on that, a pretend business. I'm not big on fake it till you make it. There's always something that feels a little off about that. But practice makes perfect, and that's what I'm giving myself. I'm giving myself practice as I'm learning, and I'm allowing myself to dwell and operate from the present tense feeling of my own beingness. And as I do that, it gets easier and it gets stronger, and everything that I want seems to just be presenting itself to me. And the things that are unwanted are presenting themselves less and less and less. I mean, like, seriously, I can go through my whole day without even feeling annoyed about anything, which is pretty cool. I mean, I was doing that to myself, but it was, at the time, it was really not as clear to me that I was doing all that, but I was. And when I stopped doing that, it was because I was giving myself what I wanted. And then I was assuming, as soon as I wanted it, that it was mine. That it was mine to experience. That it was mine to have, be, or do. And then I don't entertain thoughts that tell me otherwise, because those thoughts aren't real and they're not true. I know them by how they feel. And if they don't feel good to me, and if I feel like crap when I'm thinking it, or after the thought has just shuffled along and be like, and it doesn't feel good and I feel like horrible or something, I know immediately that that is not a true thought and that it's not a thought for me. And I'm not going to entertain it. It's not welcome to hang out and just, be ridiculous with me. I know it and I recognize it for what it is. And then it passes and I'm right back to doing exactly what it is that I want and giving myself what I want and feeling how I want. And those are the most important, parts of it, because that's where the change really comes in. And then before you know it, you have so much evidence, experiential evidence, that it's impossible to doubt it, because then you're just like, no, this is how it works. This is how it's supposed to be. And it gets easier and easier. And so I know that this is true. It's been easily for the last month, getting easier and easier for me to just operate from the wish fulfilled. And, once you can do that without anything interfering in that focus, that's when things really start building momentum and you start experiencing it in your outer world as well. But you feel it in your inner world first, and you feel it by how good you feel. And that's, something that I think is a relief feeling. It's a feeling of, like, number one, it's relief. But number two, it's also like, yeah, this is how I'm supposed to feel. This is a natural way that I'm supposed to be feeling. And so it gets easier to give yourself that feeling as you continue to do these teachings and to operate that as though these teachings are indeed factual in how you implement them. So, so I take them literally, is what I'm saying. I don't just pretend. I am that. If there's something about me that I want to change, for me it was, I wanted to be focused on what was wanted, not unwanted. And I gave that to myself. And then I strengthened it by being aware that every time something unwanted popped up, I wasn't giving it my attention. And I wasn't believing it either. And that also started building momentum. And that became my dominant experience, right? So, well, I hope that answered your question, Hugo, and I really appreciate you asking. And I love talking about this stuff because, and I hope to get better, to get better and better at it. I mean, to be more succinct and to the point. I think that's the other thing I'm going to work towards is, to be a little more succinct. I don't know. It's just going to take practice, I think. But anyways, until we talk again, friend,